But yeah, have a look because it's still like an experimental platform. But apart from that, there's also the regular Lush web page, and it's got, as well as all the products, try not to get too distracted, it's got all of these articles, like this one about biodiversity in the UK, and it tries to explain kind of different things, because some people, a lot of our customers really care about the ethics behind what we do.
I guess part of it has to do with seeing what Accelerate does, looking at its mission of trying to be a company that's not only serving businesses but actually try change the world or change our field in some way. So trying to move towards 100% animal testing. So we've got two main branches to what we do. One is regulatory safety testing. A chemical or a cosmetic company will come to us and say, we need to have this test done to make sure our product's safe. Tests for skin or eye irritation, or tests for skin sensitization. Sensitization is like an induced severe allergic reaction. So you can imagine for lots of cosmetic manufacturers or ones that make chemical or cosmetic ingredients, that's quite high on their list. So for the irritation tests, we buy in reconstructed human tissue models from a company called Matec, and these aren't ones that have been taken from a person. They're human tissues that are almost grown from the ground up. Depends on the test method, but the vast majority of them are less than a week. So it's very quick turnaround to apply your test chemical and then get the result before the end of the week. We have to build a lot around the tests that we do to make sure we've got sufficient quality. And by quality, I mean that in essence, we're not just making things up, we're doing things correctly, that when someone sends us a product, they get the right result. So I think one thing that's really key to point out is lots of companies that end up doing animal tests don't actually want to do animal tests. It's if there's a certain regulation that says you need to have this specific endpoint assessed. So we need to check if it's going to do the X or Y or Z to a person. If there's not a non-animal alternative to that test, their hands are pretty much tied in having to do that if they want to sell the product. I don't agree with them whatsoever, but rather than saying we should just flat out abandon them, I think a better idea is to say, okay, how can we fund research into replacing them? And not only that, how can we make sure there's sufficient lobbying on not only businesses but on regulatory bodies as well to say, can you make it easier to get these validated? I think in a lot of cases what happens now is that people will use historic animal data rather than conducting new animal tests to get the information they need. In a lot of cases people are using computational prediction models to predict whether it's going to be hazardous, but lots of them are based on animal tests. My opinion is that we need to build up a new library of data from in vitro tests rather than going back and relying on animal ones. But that's going to take some time for companies. Often the non-animal in vitro tests can end up being a lot cheaper with a quicker turnaround time as well, which works for everyone. I think there's also something to be assessed is what the environmental impact of an in vitro non-animal test is compared to an animal one. If you've got a lab full of animals that unfortunately not only they test on but then dispose of.